Alright, Deep Rock Galactic Survivor is a game where we need to make a ton of choices when creating our build. We guess which class is the best option, we guess which weapon selection will do the most damage, and we cross our fingers and hope for the best. But instead of guessing, there are actual guidelines that you can follow that have been proven to set you up for success in creating that perfect build. These guidelines revolve around three core aspects: the perfect build formula, damage types, and lastly, upgrade selection. Alone, each one of these aspects can make a significant impact on build's performance and damage outputs, but mastering all three will allow you to steamroll through even the highest of hazard levels. Let's dive into the first aspect and talk about the perfect build formula. Due to the diverse enemy types in the game and the sheer quantity of them, we need to create a build to overcome these challenges. Whether it's a single high health target or a mob of weaker enemies, our weapons need to handle each situation effectively or we won't make it very far. Perfect build formula addresses all these challenges, so it's important to do our best to equip a weapon of each of the following categories. One weapon that deals high single target damage, one that deals area of effect damage, one weapon dealing mass application crowd control, and one mass application damage enhancer. Mixing up your weapon selection like this will make a huge impact, but let's quickly dissect this formula to see why this diverse weapon set is so significant. When it comes to the dangers of tanky enemies, a weapon that deals high single target damage is going to be your saving grace. Now on the other side of the spectrum, the numerous weaker enemies will need a weapon with a different skill set. This is the job of a weapon that deals area of effect damage. Yes, these weapons usually dish out less raw damage, but when it comes to the smaller critters, injuring a large amount of them at once is usually well worth the trade-off. The last two weapon types of this equation are more for utility and are meant to help enhance your build overall. In the case of a weapon dealing mass application crowd control, this becomes extremely important in disrupting the flow of the constant barrage of enemies. If you are only focusing on pure damage, it'll be challenging to find much success in later stages of a run. You need to give yourself some wiggle room to help avoid taking damage. And finally, we have the mass application damage enhancer. These weapons are most important to increase the damage of your main weapons even further, and gives you just that final push to make it through the last stages. We now understand what type of weapons our build should consist of, but let's take a closer look at the various damage types and see how a combination of the right ones will lead us to incredible results. We're going to separate all damage types into three different categories: pure damage, crowd control, and damage enhancing elements. The damage types that will focus on dealing pure damage are kinetic damage and fire damage. Kinetic damage is going to be the main form of damage with single target weapons in most cases. It has the potential to deal insane amount of direct damage. Fire, on the other hand, can still be incredibly effective at wiping out enemies, but fire deals most of its damage over time, which makes it a much better candidate for handling the masses of weaker enemies. Taking a look at crowd control damage types, cryo and knockback help us control the pace of the fight. Cryo slows down enemies and has a chance to completely freeze them in place. Knockback, on the other hand, doesn't affect the enemy movement speed. Instead, it pushes them further away from you, ensuring that you have enough space to safely move around. Let's now take a look at the elemental enhancer damage types. Both electric and acid damage types help increase damage from other sources. Electric damage helps increase critical chance rate, while acid helps increase overall damage from other sources. Use this knowledge to fine-tune your build in the way you want. All builds will be unique and so will their needs, but mixing up damage types will be crucial for consistent success. The final core aspect that goes into making a great build is upgrade selection. Making the right choices here is what will truly make your build shine, and one of the biggest keys is to not settle for any common upgrades. In order to get the most out of every level up, we need to prioritize gold when collecting resources, which will allow us to utilize upgrade rerolls. As I said earlier, every build will be different and will require different upgrades, but let's talk about some of the most impactful upgrades that will generally help strengthen your build. When it comes to offensive upgrades, all stat upgrades are much more valuable than specific weapon upgrades in most situations. Due to the fact that all stat upgrades have the potential to strengthen multiple guns, the amount of equipped weapons that will be impacted by the upgrade should be considered. Most heavy weapons will benefit greatly from increased reload speed. Turrets get exponentially higher DPS from reload speed, as it will increase the amount of constructs you can have out at once. Only choose paint job when the specific weapon's overclock will make a significant impact on your build. Otherwise, upgrades that give you immediate stat boosts are much more valuable. When it comes to defensive upgrades, pickup radius is much more impactful in terms of leveling compared to increased XP gain. Luck is a great pick at lower stages, but is significantly less powerful when chosen at higher stages. Movement speed is crucial when it comes to recouping from the negative effects of powerful artifacts, like pickled nitra. It's also really valuable when it comes to dodging the dreadnought. Increased mining speed is useful up to the point of mining faster than your enemies can move, but becomes much less impactful past that point. Every build will require a unique set of weapons, damage types, and upgrades, but if you put this newfound knowledge to work, you will have the upper hand over your enemies. I want to give a huge shout out to the Deep Rock Galactic Survivor Discord community. This guide would absolutely not be possible without them. And now, I would like to thank you so much for watching today's video. If there's any more tips that you have in mind when it comes to creating the perfect build, go ahead and post it in the comment section, because your fellow dwarves and I would love to read them. That's it for today's video. I appreciate you for sticking around, and thanks for watching.